Okay, in this presentation I'm going to do an introduction to R. No, so how do I start up R? Well, when I install R, now I'm going to, installing R is a separate matter. I won't deal with that in this presentation. There should be an icon on your desktop giving you the just saying R. It also will tell you the current version there. Mine is 3.0.2. It's actually slightly out of date. That's actually not a trivial matter. I'll discuss the reason for that later on. Now, I'm just going to it's just come up there, but what I'm going to do is just sort of crop it down so it's all in shot. There we go. Now, just actually before I begin anything, that is the R console. So this is how you would sort of interact with R mostly. Just as a remark, just as sort of quite a slight digression, I'm just going to change the GUI preferences, which is on the edit menu, to 16 bold. Okay. You can change the colors as well, the color and the page colors, but I'll leave that. But the reason I've done that is so I can make it a bit easier to read. It might help if you actually try and look at, if you're looking at this on YouTube, to look at it full screen mode. So this is the R console. I've just started up R version 3.02, and it has a sort of nickname, Frisbee Sailing. This is a slightly out of date version. R is free software and comes with absolutely no warranty. Okay, well, you can read all that yourself. R is a collaborative project with many contributors. Contributors, yeah, you can have a read of that. Citation is actually quite important, because if you're doing something like writing an academic paper and you're using a package from R, it's good form to cite the paper that you've used. Now, the rest of it is actually quite important. So, the bottom paragraph here: type demo for some demos, help for some online help, or help start for an HTML browser interface to help. Okay, well, let's have a look at demo first, actually. So, just as a remark, demo, but you actually put in the brackets as well: open bracket, close bracket. The reason for that is it's a function and it expects arguments. If you don't write demo, what would happen is that you just get the source code for that function. What we could do here is, this is a list of demos that is available to look at. What I might do is actually look at graphics. So I'm going to close this down, this window, and we'll have a look at graphics. Demo graphics. Okay, so hit return. Now press return to start. So what has happened here is to click or hit enter for next page. Okay, let's do that. So what we're getting here is some sample graphics, and on the main R console we actually get the code used to draw that graphic. Now there are other places to find sample code for that we'll come to later on, actually, but color wheel, January pie sales, there's a little pie chart: apple, cherry, blueberry, and so on. Notch box plots, distance between brownie and motions, the level of interest in art, slightly out of date, that's in 1996. There's a 1000 normal random variates. Okay, that's interesting. That is related to probability distributions and also stuff like the statistical inference. Edgar Anderson's iris data. This is actually quite important, because iris is actually a commonly used data set in training examples in R. It's actually an inbuilt data set. You can color it in. That's a topographic map of Maunga Wow. I can't pronounce that, sorry. And so on. So that's the end of the presentation there. The other thing we were told was, so that was demo. I'm just going to clear the screen, and to clear the screen I'll go Control and L. Okay, Control and L, as in CTRL and L. That's not, you don't type that in, it's just those are the keys you press. What I'm going to do is actually comment that. That's just this is how you might write a comment in R. Just a little hashtag symbol or hash symbol. People call it the hashtag symbol now. Some people don't like that, but anyway, that's how you clear the screen control. Comment is comment. Use the hash key. Hash key, even, sorry. Okay, so we had a look at demo there. The second thing that we were instructed, or we're given, second piece of advice we're given is help. So how to find out help? So you type in help and the name of whatever you want to get help for. I'm just going to make up something. I'm going to ask for help on this thing called ARG, capital A R G. Just I saw a bit of code, has capital A R G. I want to know what it does. Let's see. So I hit return, starting HTTPD help server, done. Now it's a little bit slow on my computer, but essentially, oh, here we go. What comes up is this HTML Windows Explorer document with it's just gone out of shot there. And again, it's actually partly to do with me running a lot of software at the same time on this old computer. Just give that a second. So this is locally installed. You don't have to be connected to the internet for this. And what we have here is that it's related to complex vectors. If you can read that there, it says basic functions which support complex arithmetic in R. So it's actually something to do with complex numbers. Alright, so that's useful enough. Now, I'll be honest with you, for some things you're probably better off getting a book. Because the writing in these things is very technical, and it's not intended to be overly long. So references the new S language. Okay, but what that we have down the bottom is actually quite interesting. This is examples, so this is a bit of sample code you can run. So I'm going to actually have a look at this. This is actually why help is actually really useful. If you want to get the hang of something, you run bits of sample code and just mess around with them. So what I'm going to do is actually take that bit of code and I'm going to run it in R. Okay. Now I could run it all like this. There we go. And it just brings up the whole thing. But there's actually a couple of different features in that bit of code. So how would you run it bit by bit? Well, this is really useful, this bit. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go to File. Oh, I have to close that down. Just as a remark, actually, depending on which window is active, the menu changes. Now here the graphics window is active, so I'm going to close that down. Now just watch when I do this, just watch up here, okay? See that? It changed. Now, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to set up a script file. So rather than me putting everything into R, or just like copy and paste and putting it into R, I'm going to set up a script file and go new script. So this is a script editor, and I'm going to copy and paste it all in. Okay. So I want to read it bit by bit. I want to go through it. I want to check it out. I want to see what every little thing does. So, oops, sorry about that. So let's run this bit. Now, what do I do here? How do I get this to run? Well, what I can do here is you notice that again the menu has changed because I have this script editor open and active. So if I was to go to console, it changes. If I was to go back to script editor, it changes back. Now I want to run this top bit of code, okay? And so I'm going to use this run liner selection. So I've highlighted a bit of code there and I'm going to run that, okay? Just that particular piece of code. Now, that's it there. I've just ran that, okay? Now, again, this is to do with complex numbers, and if you're not that familiar with complex numbers, don't worry about it. But it just you get the general sense that you can run bits of code and edit them. Suppose I want to go 0I to the power of -2 to 2. I just want to sort of see what that does, just for a bit of fun. I'm going to put 2 there and 2 there. Okay, so you can rerun that bit of code. I didn't actually need to put in require graphics, actually. There we go. It's the same thing again here. So it's just I have slightly altered the code. I can save this script file, save as. I'm going to call that. That's my new my working directory. New script .r. I'm going for capital letters partly because it just makes it easier to read, actually. New script. And okay, let's just say for argument's sake I'll close that down. And let's clear the screen, Control L. And let's just say I come back tomorrow and I sort of said, let's work on that script a bit more. So what I could do there is go open script. Let's try that again. Open script. There's a little bug there. Hang on a sec. Oh, sorry, it's down the bottom. The prompt was out of shot. I wasn't looking at it. So open script. Okay. There we go. Sorry. That was just me not paying attention to things out of shot. Okay, so there it is again, so I can open it up again. So essentially what happened there, I slightly faffed it up there, but file and open script. So I can go and work with that script a bit more. Now, that was the help. Now, I can't bring that help file up again, but the last thing it sort of indicated was help start. So let's look at help start. So help.start, and again, it was a command. So you write in open bracket, close bracket. Okay. Now what that does is it brings up this online, or it's not online, it's a sort of HTML-based, web-based site, but it's actually, you don't have to be connected to the internet to bring this up, so it's actually inbuilt in R. Like you could sort of tell that the URL is a sort of not a web URL, it's a sort of local URL. What we have here is manuals, references, and so on. Okay. Packages is quite interesting. I'll talk about packages shortly. But an introduction to R, let's look at that. What that does is an introduction to R, table of contents. This is a sort of online manual, or I use the word online a lot, but a sort of HTML manual. So I can go to preliminaries, I can go down to simple manipulations, for example, numbers and vectors. You probably might be doing this for a Coursera course or something like that, so you might be interested in arrays and matrices, lists and data frames. Reading files from data, that's quite important. Data table, scan, accessing inbuilt data sets. I'm going to actually go there because quite a lot of the exercises you'll do will actually have inbuilt data sets. So let's just go there actually. You didn't really intend for this, but around 100 data sets are supplied with R in packages data sets, and others are available in packages, including recommended packages supplied with R. To see the list of data sets currently available, use data. And all of the data sets supplied with R are available directly by name. However, many still use the obsolete convention in which data was also used to load the data set. Okay, so for some data sets, essentially there's just hours of work in progress, and sometimes you might actually have to write in, to load the data set, you actually have to write in data and the name of the data set. Okay, so it's just a sort of, for some packages. Okay. That's it. So it told us actually up here to write in data. So let's do that. Data. Just to sort of before I go off, this is a really useful resource, and how I got there was help.start. Okay. So anyway, now we'll go to data. So this is data set supplied with the package datasets. Okay. So loads of data sets here. There's about 100, as he said. Now some of these would be used quite frequently in Coursera courses and stuff like that, or introductory R courses. Let's go down here and see if I spot anyone that's used quite frequently. Anscombe, a very interesting one there. Anybody who's interested in doing stuff with data visualization or so on, that's a data set you should look at. No, where's the next one? Iris, there we go, down the bottom, or down here now. So Iris, Edgar Anderson's Iris data set, and there's a slight variant of it called Iris 3. Very important data set. One more, empty cars. That one gets used quite a lot as well. There's infert there, so that was about infertility. Okay, that was the one that was mentioned there. Yeah, okay. So that is some of the data sets that you would have in R. I'm just going to close that one down, or collapse that one down. Just go back to R console now. Just actually as a remark, actually, if you're looking at there's the R console, the basic R package, R installation will have multiple windows, and you have to just sort of be able to sort of flick through them or tab through them. Let's look at the Iris dataset. It says you just have to type in the name, Iris. There we go. That's the Iris dataset. It's just a whole bunch of numbers and names have just appeared on my screen. What do you do about that? Just as a sort of quick remark, just till you get a bit more acquainted with R, useful tip if you're looking at a data set and you just want to see the top of the data set, there we go, head, iris, or tail, iris. It gives you either the top of the data set or the bottom of the data set. Quite useful. Now there's a couple of commands that one would use to sort of get the sense of a data set, get the dimensions of it. I'm not going to do that here. Just for the time being, head and tail is pretty useful. There's one more command actually. Seeing as I mentioned help and help.start, I'm going to list one command that I think is very useful, and it's called summary. Okay. Now I'm going to get here the summary of Iris, and what that will do is bring up a sort of a summary data set, a summary output of the Iris data set. Now, depending on what type of argument you put in, for example, Iris here, it would give you a sort of an output report that would sort of suit whatever you ask, whatever object you ask. Iris is an example of an object. A data set is an object. A data frame is an object. A single value is an object. An object is just an object. It's not really. It's a technical term, but it's just a fancy way of saying a thing. So we tried out help start. We tried out data. Let's actually try out help of Iris. See what happens there, just for a bit of fun. What that does, it brings up the help file for the Iris dataset. Edgar Anderson's Iris dataset, the famous Fisher's or Anderson's Iris dataset. Given the measurements in centimeters, okay, I'll let you read that yourself, but that's the Edgar Anderson's Iris dataset. And it just gives you a bit more background to it. And also, again, down the bottom gives you some sample code. Now, that's the work with the Iris dataset. Now, what I'm going to do here is actually going to do two more things. I'm going to have a quick look up here in File. Source R script. So if you have a source, if you have an R script that you already wrote, that you can bring it in directly, I'm going to sort of save that for another time. This one down here is actually quite interesting. Change directory. So what's that about? Well, it's where what part of your computer memory, your computer files you are working in. So if I was to save something, or something like that, I would essentially what part of the computer I'm working with, what file area I'm working in. It's called the path. So essentially, get working directory. This is the working directory I'm using. It's C, my documents and settings, Kevin, my documents. Okay. So that's the sort of where I would be working. If I wanted to change that to something else, I would just write in a name here. For example, I might write in C work area or something like that, just to change it. Now, the thing about working directories and set working directories, I just like draw your attention to the orientation of this slash there. Okay. For example, if I was to go and open a diff, let's just say I'm looking at go to my Windows direct in the background here. I'll just draw your attention to the fact. Sorry, I'm just going to collapse this down so it makes it a bit easier to read. Just see that the orientation there is different. So this is one's a backslash, one's a forward slash, and I have to admit now I can't remember which one's which. So off the top of my head, I just like essentially all I'm saying is that they're different. So anyway. That is the working directories, and that's quite an important matter, particularly if you're trying to input data and export data. One last one here is that we talked about packages. So there is quite a lot of packages inbuilt in R, and what we could do is select one of them here. So I might install, let's say, stats for some reason. No, do you know what? I'll install MASS because that's quite a useful one. So what that would do is it would install the, it would load the mass packages. Sorry, I messed that up because I should have got rid of that thing on it previously. Oh no, it's coming in now. Another way you can call a package is just use this command, library. I think already, yeah, library. So I can use all the functionality on the mass package. That's a quick orientation of R. Just to do some calculation is pretty easy. So A equals 7, B equals 3, A plus B, what do you get? Or 10. Just as a remark, actually, A plus, I nearly went there, A plus lowercase b, error, object B not found. Thing is, R is case sensitive. If you're familiar with other programming languages, for example SPSS, they're not case sensitive, but R is case sensitive. So when I put in lowercase b there, we got an error. Okay. So we'll leave it there. That's a sort of quick introduction to the R environment. Now, to go beyond this, I think I'll have to come up with a new lesson plan. Or like do something separately. Okay. 22 minutes. God.